those people were no genius if it was right in front of their faces. I don't care what they say. Let them say what they want. I don't care what their opinion of me is. I don't care what their opinions are. Well, let them say what they want. I don't care. Yeah? Tell that to these guys. I'm feeling better now. Hello everybody, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 12, Episode 4, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Now, this is an interesting one, as the Doctor and her fam, more or less, go back in time. Well, I say go back in time, they meet Nikola Tesla after some very strange incidents have been happening at his power station up at Niagara Falls. It turns out that these creatures, the Skikara thingy, want Tesla, and this is quite interesting. They want him to repair their spaceship, because these are creatures who, they don't build anything for themselves. They don't fix anything for themselves. They steal things from other creatures, and they get other people to repair them. So this is the main plot of the episode. They're after Nikola Tesla because they sort of communicated by accident, I suppose, and they want him to repair their spaceship, so they can carry on being, I don't know what their ultimate goal is, but at the moment they just want Tesla to repair their ship. Well, their ship, the Newton ship. Nice reference. Also a nice reference with the Silurian gun. So the Doctor and companions have to look after Tesla with help from Thomas Edison. Not sure why the aliens go after the Doctor and Ryan and Graham when they go and see Edison, but you know, that's a nitpick. But yeah, the main plot of the episode is basically these aliens want Nikola Tesla to fix their ship and weapons so that they can be big. I'm not sure what their ultimate goal is, but a big deal, I guess. So the Doctor and fam have to protect Tesla. So yeah, this is a very good story. I love how the writer, Nina Meldrever, I'm not sure if I got that right. She's a new writer for Doctor Who, and apparently she wrote soaps. So apparently that means she's a bad writer for sci-fi because she's only written soaps. Oh, hang on, no, that's what the haters are saying. Okay. Yeah, some people just think just because so-and-so's written one genre but not another, that means that they're automatically bad in that genre. Hey, Russell T Davies wrote soaps, and look what happened with him in 2005. Nina Mendoza seems to have very strong passion when writing this story. Take that, haters. As she's able to write Tesla as an extremely passionate and compelling character. I mean, okay, fair enough, Tesla may not be 100% perfect, but then again, who is? But the way Nina is writing the character, she's putting a lot of passion and lots of love into the character, and you can tell that in the performance as well from the actor, whose name escapes me, playing Tesla. He's in that first scene, just so much passion and joy and lots of love into what he's saying. That is really great, and that's how you entice audiences into a supporting character. It's no wonder many fans loved Tesla after this episode. He got off to a really great start. Also have to say, Miss Skerritt is also a fun, enjoyable character as well, as his loyal assistant, and has reminiscence to Doctor Who companions of the Doctor, standing by her mentor and the great man she, well, I suppose loves, not romantically, but in a sort of admiration way. Similarly, Thomas Edison, whilst a bit of a dick, is not completely unlikable. I suppose he's written how he was, his attitude was at the time towards Tesla. I'm sure he was more nicer in real life, but anyway, maybe he was more nastier. But I think what we get here is a pretty decent depiction, considering we're looking from the view of Tesla's point of view. when it comes to the supporting characters, there is the letdown with the villains. I don't think the villains are that particularly amazing. I think the idea of them not being able to build or fix their own stuff and having to steal it or kidnap others is a good idea, and that they're parasites. However, their own personalities and their own motives and own stuff themselves are a bit flat and a bit dull, not really that interesting, or even explained that much. And despite Angie and Mahara, I think I pronounced that right. Hey, that's Rani from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Despite her fantastic performance as the Sakara Queen, the character itself isn't really that amazing. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, for villains in this series, every other couple of villains, they feel the need that they need to be filmed and edited in a way where we keep cutting back and forth between just a couple of camera angles. Like you got this one here, and then slight turn. It's a bit weird. It's just very quick, tiny 1 or 2 second shots, and then it just moves to a slightly different angle, very slightly, all in a quick editing times. It happened last week with the dregs. It's happened with Tim Shaw, and it happened a bit with the creatures in the first episode of Class. For that episode, they did that a couple of times. So I don't know what it is with this new editing technique where you've got to have about 3 or 4 angles that look very similar, but you cut between them every other couple of seconds. It just makes the editing look a bit weird. Speaking of editing, the ending is way too fast. The story starts up a bit slow, gradually building itself along, which is fine. It's introducing the characters. It's working really well at the start, but towards the end, it seems like they're in a hurry to finish. The way they defeat the villains is a really good way of doing it, and it seems like they almost don't do it, but it's then done really quickly, and then we get the final bits, and then the episode just feels like time to end, I guess. It feels like the episode could have done with an extra 5 minutes, at least, possibly 10, because I also don't think, whilst I'm not saying Nina's not very good at writing sci-fi, I do think the sci-fi angle is the weaker point of this story. I think she does a fantastic historical drama, but I think the sci-fi element to this story is the weaker bit. I'm not saying she can't write sci-fi. I'm not one of those people I was talking about earlier, but I think it is her weaker side of it. It's the same with Demons of the Punjab and The Witchfinders. The sci-fi element is the weakest part of those stories. And whilst I think this one works as a sci-fi pseudo-historical, I think the sci-fi element could have been handled a little bit better. The idea of the aliens themselves sounds interesting. It's just the characterization of those aliens is a bit generic, or at least not that interesting. So it's more what they do. But I'm not going to hold the story against that, because I think it's the first time, and she's just getting the grips of it, and she's done a pretty good job with the writing, so I'm not going to complain too much. I think this episode also has some of the most obvious CGI in the new series since the show returned, or at least in the more recent years. It's the more obvious CG with the green ball thing and the electricity and some other pieces of CG that just look very obvious. Backgrounds and exterior shots look really great, but some other bits do look very obviously CG'd. So maybe that's just how they were rendered, perhaps. On a more positive note, I think Jodie Whittaker has found her footing as the 13th Doctor by this point. I think she found it by earlier on in the series, but I think at this point she's got the groove. She's got it, and she's just rolling with it. And her exposition, she's got it down now. When she's expositioning, she doesn't have too much to exposition this time round either. So that's great, and the directing she's getting is also really great. So Jodie does a brilliant job. The companions don't get an awful lot to do. Ryan and Graham have some funny one-liners now and again, and some funny moments, especially Graham. And Yasmin gets the occasional bit to do. But again, they don't really get a huge amount to do in this episode. You could have just had 1 or 2 of them here, and they wouldn't have much of a difference. Heck, none of them, and they wouldn't make a huge amount of difference. But they're still good with what they're doing, and the actors continue to do amazingly in their roles, especially Bradley Walsh, who is usually the shining light of the story. He's usually, if it's not him, then someone somehow makes him look second best. which is still pretty high. But somehow in some stories, someone would top him, but it's not easy to top Bradley Walsh. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is a very good story. I think it's an enjoyable historical, pseudo-historical story with some really good stuff, some great characterization, great performances, great emotion. The villains could have been better, and I think the CG is a bit obvious in some places, and the companions needed more to do. But on the whole, I think Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is a very good episode. So I will be giving Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very good episode, a very good story, and I think for a first time, Nina Mandova did a very good job. Take that, haters. Despite the sci-fi side being the weaker angle, but that doesn't mean the story's bad. In fact, the sci-fi angle is still pretty decent in quite a few places. Like I said, the idea of these creatures not being able to build or fix their own things, that's a very good idea. So on the whole, a good episode, and I can see why a lot of people would like or love this episode quite a lot. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.